What's up, guys? Welcome back to another one. So this video is going to be about Paraguay and the news that's in the media right now about them starting legislation to make Bitcoin legal tender next week. I'll talk about the pros, the cons, and what is actually happening right here. So this is great because, as we all know, El Salvador not too long ago introduced their bill and made Bitcoin, legal tender in their country right next to the US dollar, which is huge for adoption, and it's huge just overall to see that a country, yes, a country, even though it is El Salvador, has instituted Bitcoin cryptocurrency on the same level as the US dollar. Now, there's a lot of pros, cons, and differences there, and if you want, I can make another video about that one, but adoption growing onto a secondary country would be huge. And there might be a lot of headlines like this coming out in the next couple days. Paraguay will legalize to make Bitcoin legal tender next week. And if we look at this article, I'll kind of talk about why, this is good, and then what it actually means. So reading through a couple paragraphs here, Paraguay Member of Parliament Carlos Rejala tweeted that the parliament is set to introduce legislation to pass the law to make Bitcoin a legal tender in Paraguay. First off, that's kind of, one-sided, saying that, this legislation is being introduced and then it's going to pass. Kind of sort of, it's a little confusing there. Rejala, who is a Bitcoin-friendly lawmaker, has drawn attention recently, revealing that he is working with Senator Fernando Silva Facchetti to introduce the bill to 14th of July, next Wednesday, essentially. And here's a tweet here. I'm here to unite Paraguay. That is why we decide with Senator, Facchetti to present together the bill of Bitcoin on Wednesday, 14 July. So he's made these announcements previously, and he's going to essentially follow the footsteps of El Salvador, which would create a law and declare Bitcoin as a form of legal tender. So some differences here to highlight is a bill of digital assets, and it differs from that of El Salvador because they are taking it as legal currency, and in Paraguay it will be impossible to do something like that, someone says. So here's some of the cons to this argument. If you just kind of read the headline, you're like, oh man, Paraguay is going to follow El Salvador's footsteps, and they're going to make this legal tender ASAP. But if you kind of dig into it a little bit deeper, there's a couple of different articles out here. This one's, kind of skewed further to the other side, where Paraguay not looking to make Bitcoin a legal tender. And they kind of talk through that because they say it's in no hurry to make Bitcoin legal tender because this guy is not the president. He's just a member of their Congress. And their Congress, much like ours, has different political parties, and this individual isn't even in one of the major political parties. He's actually in one of the smaller ones. So that in of itself, creates some problems. So this little excerpt here, this 36-year-old, and they are talking about Carlos Rejala, this 36-year-old who leads a small political party with a total of 4 seats in Congress, is now seeking to rally support to pass his bill in regulating the digital asset. He's working on 3 drafts of the law he intends to present on July 14th, which is good. And just to back that data up, if you look at Paraguay's Congress, they have the Senate, and they also have a lower chamber, kind of like us. Us in the United States, that is. And doing the research, he is part of this Hagamas party. Excuse me there if I'm butchering that, but 2 seats in the lower. And then also, if you scroll up and you look at their Senate, they only have 2 seats in the Senate. So, 4 seats total, 2 seats in the Senate, and then 2 seats in the Chamber of Deputies. So by no means this is a guarantee, but there are some pros to this and there are some cons. So let's talk about, some of the pros. So going back to this article right here, you know, at very least, we have another country, even though it's just one senator or maybe two senators, they're pushing to introduce more, cryptocurrency at a global scale. They're putting it up on par with the US dollar. And that's great for adoption overall. And also, this is getting more people just talking about, Bitcoin, the pros and cons of it, some of the utility, the use cases, which is going above and beyond what the initial use case was just a store of value. So if another country can do that, that is just the start of, a couple dominoes starting to fall, which potentially could make cryptocurrency adopted, maybe not worldwide. I'm sure the US dollar, and it looks like the Chinese, they're starting their own digital currency over there, but it's putting these cryptocurrencies on the same pedestal as, the US dollar and the Chinese currency, which if you're a crypto maximus, that is awesome. So on the downside, talking about this, it's pretty much what I was just talking about. This is just 1 to 2 different senators just having this conversation and introducing this bill. So it's not concrete whatsoever, like a lot of people would have it believe if you just read, headlines and articles. So you have to do a little bit more deep digging to see that, hey, this is, just one party, and this party isn't even a major party. It's actually one of the smaller parties in Paraguay's system. So, when taking all of that into account, I think it still is positive overall because it's getting cryptocurrency back into the headlines and it's having more discussions about, cryptocurrencies and its use cases, its utilization in other countries. So that's it for this time. If you guys have any other questions or want me to do digging on certain coins, just let me know. And until then, I'll see you next time.